Hey folks. Hey folks, we are going to continue illustrating the Crystals of Mabar adventure. We're going to work on NPC characters, non-playing characters that the team may encounter that provide them the hook to the adventure that this is embarking upon. I'm going to check my signal here. I'm going to go through my intro spiel real quick, and then we're going to paint. Hold on. So checking signal. We're gonna paint. Check. Hold on. So checking. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Back. Knock it off, dude. There. No. Here it up. Sound. It's the ultimate enemy. I get my buttons pressed here, and then I'll go through my intro spiel, and then we'll get kicking. All right, hey, my name's Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games and illustrate them, then I publish them online. So I work mainly in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. That's what I've been focusing my attention on for the past 5 years. There are a lot of links in the description down below to different things that I've created so far. They're all full preview, so you can look at the entire document to see the kind of stuff that I think about and how I resolve problems. And if you like artwork, there's probably about 150 different illustrations amongst those pages. All you guys gotta do is click on the full preview button and you can check them out. I tend to find it's more fun to have people give you money because they want to encourage similar behavior as opposed to somebody spending money to take a risk on whether it's gonna be a cool book or not. So that's just kind of how I roll. And as such, if you want to support me otherwise, you can clickety. Boop, boop. You can follow me on Twitter if you're in Twitter still, X. I am at Phil Kearney. Best way to support the channel is like, subscribe, bell icon, get notifications when I go live. We're at 210 subscribers right now, and I'm obviously looking to get 1,000 so I can become a partner, and that would be amazing. So if you think this stuff is cool, subscribe, stick around. I'm here 6 days a week. So we're at we're on that screen. We're at episode 160 now. So back around episode 40 is when we created this book cover. So you can go back into the Wayback Machine of my playlist and go check that out if you're interested. But the past 15 episodes we've spent on creating these NPC tokens, or illustrations basically, of the different NPCs that will offer you plot hooks to get into what this adventure is all about. So naturally we have to illustrate them. So that's what we're doing right now. We're gonna go illustrate these guys. So this is a family a generic family that could be one of your player characters' cousins, brothers, sisters, whatever, and invite them a place to stay. So we're doing an illustration about staying with your family. So let me make sure I've got all my business lined up here and just refamiliarizing myself with where we're at in the piece now. That's the rabbit. Kid. Rabbit. Model citizen. That ain't it. There, where's my lines? Thank you. Resh Bedoit. Alright, we'll be on track here in a second, kids. Hey. Switch back to our round brush. What is this kid doing? There we go. We're gonna blend that all in the end anyway. Doesn't really matter that much, but I at least wanted to get the architecture correct there. The structure of it all, you know. I got things to talk about tonight. I'm gonna have fun with it. So give me a few seconds to settle into the rhythm of being here, and then I'll get yammering. It's actually pretty good. That'll all blend in, but I'm just going to be a little nitpicky right now. Yeah. I'd rather have little gaps than bloats. Because when I blend, it'll look like faded. It'll look like the fabric is faded. If it's bloaty, it'll look like a weird place for a shadow, and you'll have to kind of, your brain's going to look for a pattern. So whenever you are working with texture, my recommendation is that you have you detract from the piece. You take away from it. You bore holes through it. You wear it down. You fatigue it. Don't build structure. Lean into chaos, because that's the natural order of the universe. Entropy wants to disorganize things. So when things are organized, your brain naturally looks to what's causing that order, because that order builds mental stability, to be honest. So your psyche is looking for order so that it has something that it can, touch grass on. So if you are creating a mark on in your illustration on a surface, that's what I'm trying to say. If you make a mark on a surface, that mark is either going to be an intentional presence that has to be replicated across the entire piece in some sort of meaningful pattern. Otherwise, it's just a random bolt in the middle of a steel wall. Like, why is that there? Like, not in the middle either, like at the 30% way to the left wall at your knee's height. What is that? Well, it's either a dent caused by somebody getting his head rammed into it in a fight, or it's an intentional decoration. And now you have to start looking for those things elsewhere. Or if it's if it's a random screw halfway drilled into the wall, that's either completely random, or there's some conspiracy about setting up screws in the middle of walls somewhere, and you have to go figure it out. You see what I'm trying to say? So you want to lean into chaos and entropy when you're not mechanically perfect, and you have to have human flaws. Use those flaws to show that the things that you're creating are born of human, that they're living things. Let the machines have their perfection. We can allow the chaos of the act of creating art, randomize something into existence for us to admire. Machines can't do that. So art is one of the most human things you can do. And I would encourage such behavior from all my allies. How can I do this so that I'm a little bit more on point? Here we are. I got this weird, what is that? Man, that's really weird. Sorry, I'm just seeing weirdness on my, Anyway, here we are. All right, I'm going to start ranting here in a few minutes. Okay, cool. Alliar is good. Let me lock in on the sister. There we go. We can extract that. Drop it into her own layer. Now the sister is separate from the center. And we can build upon that. My nib is starting to get fatigued. Speaking of entropy, my spaghetti noodle is starting to get ground down to a tip. You can take a stick of spaghetti, linguine. Fettuccine. You can take an uncooked stick of fettuccine and it'll replace one of these nubs. It doesn't do a great job with it, but you can get by. You can buy a packet of like 10 for like $1.50 online. So it's you can just stock up and you're good for a while. But you still do have to occasionally swap them out. So no. No. Oh. All right. 7:09. Take a sip of hot cocoa. Oh, that's good. Day 4 of rain in Seattle. Loving it. Damn it! I just realized the game I ran this week. There was I had an event. I basically killed the characters again, and but I just realized in my head that I could have played that differently, and it could have panned out. Like I led them into a death corridor. Basically, it's basically it could be a hallway, it can be a room, it could be a cavern. It doesn't matter. Anything that has to be traversed, you can set traps along the way. And inside the campaign that I'm running for my Eberron campaign, we're using color mana. So as the as the characters are delving through this night hag's lair, they're encountering little choke points that are ringed in like white and black magic runes. So using the color mana system, it's like this is stuff that's going to like paralyze you, stun you, fatigue you, break your concentration, take away your reactions, deal radiant damage, necrotic damage, poison. It could hit you with vulnerabilities to different types of magic. So the team is going through basically this corridor, and they have to navigate their way through these different things, and they all got hit by paralysis. It was the DCs are like, they rolled one of them rolled a 21 on their Constitution saving throw, and they failed. So it gets really difficult for them. But they all can spend mana using the martial power system that we've been playtesting. They all have abilities that allow them to use either as just an instant effect when they roll a die, or as a reaction to like failing a saving throw, like in this instance. Then they would, if they failed their saving throw, they can throw mana at it and potentially, like roll an 8 of their 19th level, so they could potentially, throw 3 mana at failing the paralysis saving throw, and get 3d10 and take the best result, which is probably going to average like at least a 7. The worst saving throw on the team was a 14. So that would have almost, a 7 would have almost succeeded. An 8 on a 10 would have succeeded. And he also has the ability to re-roll. So he could burn mana to re-roll. So he could spend 4 or 5 mana, keeping himself from getting paralyzed, or any of them basically. I'm thinking about the rogue specifically, because in this particular instance, the team had been grinding so hard fighting monsters that they had no mana left. So they couldn't get out of any... Like, I can jack the saving throws up on these 19th level characters. I can set a DC and just leave it. Like, I know that a DC 22 is... what I do is I rotate through the stats that have to save. So they'll have to make a con save, an intelligence save, a wisdom save, a dexterity save, and a strength save. And then they've got another 2 more to go. And honestly, I'm just randomly picking what these are by just rolling dice and going into my tables of disasters and just building something on the fly. Just depending on where they're, like, however they handled the last barricade will determine. It's kind of like a dungeon crawl where I'm generating the traps 1 room ahead of where they're at. That way it's surprising to me, but they run into these funhouse death halls. This will be like the 4th one in the campaign since level 1. So they run into them occasionally. They know that they're just shit fests, but when they get into them, they'll also know they'll know what to expect and where to save their dice pools for. So they'll use their mana as a bargaining chip to be able to get through these challenges. And when they get through it, finally, I'll kill them 4 or 5 times during the process. So they'll have to loop back through, but every time that they do, they pick up information about what do they need to do to get through it, and they will eventually conquer it. They're 19th level characters with like 20 mana they can throw at any particular threat at any time before they start getting recharged on a short rest. So they can basically plow through an adventure with a shitload of mana, boosting up their scores, their saves, their ability checks. And I can make near impossible and challenges for them, but they're statistically going to hit it if they spend some resources making sure that they do. And that's how you can lock in the exploration pillar in a mana-based campaign, which is some of the stuff I want to do with the Ravnica hex crawl that I'm going to use for the Martial Powers playtest that I'll be doing once the Spelljammer book publishes. So I don't think I like that lighting like at all. I like the lighting on her nose, but that's about it. She's looking a little. Hey, you got someone. What's up? Nitro, what up, my man? I love families that are alive and together, despite their own personal adversities, and not brutalized to death and maybe even turned into zombies. Well played, sir. I mean, hey, they were doing great the last time you saw them. I'm a little concerned because the sheriff's trying to deputize us to find out, you know, what's going wrong with people missing up in that. Hey, isn't that where Claire lives? I'm immediately more. Yes, I accept. Or hell, it's like maybe you do consider moving into the area. So you get a gig working for the sheriff so you can make use of your adventuring skills and not be bored out of your mind on a farm, but still get away from it all and be in your own space. Like hundreds of miles of space. So that actually kind of works really well too. God, I'm kind of envious about that. I like how that sounds. That looks good. I'm into that. What? Can I zoom in on that? No, I can't. Hold on. I found out a thing the other day. Knock it off. Everything's still going? Yeah, okay, we're good. I learned a thing. Pop out chat. I'm supposed to be able to zoom in, bastard. That's not cool, dude. There it goes. Very good. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's neat. This window has to zoom in or out. Okay. Tap. 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 All right, there we go. I just wanted to clear that learn more thing out of the way so I can read read this at this distance. I can't change the size of I can't change the size of this text, so that's why I'm always leaning into the screen. But I don't like. I think I can just be better. so now I realize I can zoom in on this stuff. It's too close, a little too close. Back off, man. A little too close. There we go. That should be. We're testing. This is a new thing, so we're testing the new thing. I'm gonna do this for a second or 5. See where that leads me. Okay, so that needs to be there. I can set that to there. There. Now I have a window. All right. What were we talking about? I knew there was a reason I was chasing this is. I'm now imagining you making an alt version of this art where they're undead, but I have no idea how it would be used. It would be, you know, a grim photo album. There's no end to the amount of stock art ideas that you can throw out there that someone is eventually going to find useful. Hey, speaking of which, apparently I can sell artwork through Patreon. So I am taking a slow, long, hard look at putting up stock art on my Patreon. So if I get a bigger cut of that and can guide traffic there, cool. So that's something I'm gonna do. Give me some time. I just wanted to be on the record, so it's something I actually follow through on. It's something I need to incorporate into what I do. So, that's trying to become a bigger, better me. I love this song. So the reason why they went down the tunnel is because there was a swarm of phase spiders that were coming after them from the directions that they had come. They snuck through the lair of this massive spider demon that basically has it exists in the in-between, which is a sort of time. It's basically like a version of the astral plane for this adventure. It's the space in between. If you picked up the Chronomancy, Adventures in Chronomancy by Ryan Langer, that's on the DMsGuild. He recruited me to illustrate the cover, and it's one of my fucking favorite covers. Hold on. I'll take you guys there because I haven't bragged about this thing like ever, but I fucking love it. DMsGuild, Adventures in Chronomancy. Yeah, I meant that one. Chronomancy. Did I just... I just remembered something. Okay, I was going to ask you about... Okay, my session of this adventure tomorrow isn't... Oh my god. And so I've been thinking of how it will start. Badass, buddy. Hold on. Here's that cover that I created. This thing's fucking sick. Come on, Beckel. Pop up. Oh yeah, wrong thing. There you go. Sick. You know what? Actually, I should just open it in here. Tangent. Can't help it. Books. Where is Adventures in Chronomancy? Seriously, my dude. Beep, 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 beep. Is it in collaborations? There we go. No. There we go. And... let's go with... here. This is the first book cover I created for the DMsGuild. And I did some adventures in here. So this is the in-between. This is the space that every time you go through one of these little gates over these little spots of light, these are portals that lead to different spaces, different times in the multiverse. And basically like a creepy sigil, but there's no city, it's just catacombs of death. So this gal's getting sucked into a ruby and is being aged by it. That's every time. If in my campaigns, you can slip through these skeins, these breaks in webbing. If you do, it ages you. But if you cut your way through, you can jump into different time streams. Like this is a time stream. These guys are on a time bridge. It's leading from one location to another, and obviously they're being chased by a dragon through it. So you kids better run out of there. But down here in the gutter, there's all these little spots of time that lead to different, either different locations in the same time, or different times at the same location. So it's a stream. And there's phase spiders that exist all throughout them. So in my time travel campaign, it was part of the inspiration of how I structured it was by using this in-between space full of phase spiders. And I had actually created a number of layers, basically time travel layers, that I use in my active campaign right now. Hold on, let me go fetch it for you. See if I can find it. Oh, here we go. Eternal spider webs. Wrong one. Huge tangent here, guys. Sorry. Here you go. Eternal webs. So you come in here, and these are basically knots. Those let's open that piece up again. So like this little pathway here is like one of these tunnels here that lead to different pocket areas. So, and then these strands lead off in different directions, and each one of these knots are hold on, B, 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 B. Those are either going to be sacks of eggs that are bursting out and creating new phase spiders, or they're sacks of trapped travelers that stumbled their way into here and got caught and are now being spider food. So you can find people that are alive, people dead. There's treasure in there, as well as infinite number of phase spiders, because when you kill phase spiders in this nest, they've knotted up time so much that if you kill a phase spider, it's already being born somewhere else right now. So there could actually only be 1 or 2 phase spiders, but there's so many instances of them respawning in this endless loop of time that they're more of an environmental hazard than an enemy, until they start chasing you down one of the pathways to kill you. So there's phase spiders chasing the characters to the hag's lair that they know exists, that they can get to in the in-between. Like, they have the campaign world with a normal hex crawl and normal features, towns, cities, villages, rivers, forests, mountains, blah, Underdark. But then you go into this in-between space, and the dungeon that's inside of there will lead you to different instances of time and space within the campaign multiverse. And the knot that they're inside of coincides with the destruction of their world, that they're trying to figure out how to stop the world from being destroyed. So they need to figure out how to fix that. And there's a couple different ways that they could. So we'll see what they decide that they want to do. But there's a couple different ways that they can save the world. But they fought one of the there's 3 demons that when they collide and begin to war with each other, they cause whatever world they do that at. It destroys the world. So they can't. So they arrive here on this world and start. They start to fight, and it destroys the world. King Kong style, but like at the 10,000 mile scale. So check out my Spelljammer stuff in the morning to find out what that means. But to the point is, here, let me put some color on this guy's hands while we're over here in the center. Skin. He's got it. So they're being chased, right? And I'm randomly generating what the traps are as they go through them. And they got hit with paralysis, which I then get to think, I get to improvise how would this night hag who sees them come, she's been scrying them. She knows they're coming. So she's prepared for them. And so they start hitting these glyph traps. And she set up a paralysis one. They all failed the paralysis. So what would the hag do to take advantage of them most? Well, when she scries through her cauldron, it creates a black disc of energy with a blue ring around it that acts as a sensor. And if you have magic eyes, like if you have detect magic active or something like that, and our druid gave up her right eye to have permanent magic vision, to always be able to see detect magic without even having to take an action. It's like, if that thing's magic, tell me about it. So using that as a tool, I get to bait them into, hey, you're picking up blue and red magic over here. So there's some sort of artifact or some sort of rune stuff going on. They're like, oh, we like runes, we like rituals. So they'll dive in after that crap. So like when they enter a new region, it's like, if there's any kind of like magic sites that are within range of their vision inside of the hex, I get to like have little sparks of different color mana that are basically flaring out of the ground, because the druid can see it because she's a land druid. So everyone's like, land druids are the worst. It's like, well, if you use color mana and you actually bind magic to the land with ley lines, your druid can see them. So you can do fun things with that, like monsters coalesce around ley lines and hubs. So like those are where your dungeons are going to be. So a druid can just follow the path, do a point crawl along a ley line to find stuff. Like Ravnica is built on them, like literally is built on them. So it's really fucking cool. But so they were going down this corridor, and I'm like, you know what? I think what the witch would do, or the hag would do, if she caught her prey in a paralysis trap, is she'd open up one of the scries, and then she can reach through it. You can actually crawl through it. Like our rogue jumped up and started crawling through one once, and then the hag turned it off and it cut him in half and he died. And then they all reset because of the Groundhog's Day. But they realize that if they're lucky, they can slip through the sensor hole and catch her off guard in her own cauldron. So they've been looking for an opportunity to do that. And I'm wondering if they're going to use that paralysis trap if they know she's going to check on them, because she's time savvy. She goes through loops too. So when they reset, she knows she's on her own reset. So when she resets, she'll remember this happened. So she'll like, oh yeah, they got caught in the paralysis trap. That's why she's checking on them there. Because in her own time loops, she's seen the team do this and get caught, and she knows that she can drop a bomb on them. And now the team and the hag's timelines are crossing and knitting together because they're getting close enough to each other to actually be able to impact each other. So their timelines get all jumbled up together. So she knows they're coming. She opens the roll. She drops a necromancy detonator, basically a necro bomb. It deals necrotic damage in a 20-foot area. They were right on top of them. They would have been okay, but they have an NPC with them that has 10 hit points. And at 19th level, it's just missile tag. Everything is missile tag for her. They're constantly throwing her into portable holes, taking damage for her, running away from threats because they don't want her to get killed because she's locked in on their timeline. So if she dies, they die. Or if she dies, their day resets. And they lose, they all instantly lose the day, because that's the only way to make a time loop campaign work logistically at a table and have everyone playing all the time. But it also makes everyone really rooting for each other to make sure that no one dies when it matters, but not give a shit when it doesn't. It's awesome. It is the best campaign I have ever ran, and I just love it. It is so fun. There are so many moving parts. It requires so much buffering time and so much improvisation bullshit from me every session. It's awesome. So I figured, so she opened up that wormhole and dropped a bomb on them, killed them all instantly, and they reset. And I'd never tell them where they reset to, because a well-timed session has them dying at the very end of the session, and then leaving them with a cliffhanger to confirm whether or not they're going to wake up where they think they're going to wake up, or is something going wrong. So it's great. It's just freaking great. And the time hag knows that the night hag knows this. So get this, night hags can make dreams. They can enter your nightmares and fuck with you. So twice now in the campaign, when the team has fought the hag and they reset, the next 7 to 12 sessions were a nightmare and complete bullshit, because it always starts with them waking up drunk at the bar. And they can never tell, is this actually a dream or is this real? And the only hint they have of whether or not the next 10 sessions are going to be bullshit or not is how much effort did we have to put into killing that hag. So they're fighting the hag right now, and she's winning because she's got the drop on them with her scry circle. They have to either push in and get smart, or get the fuck away before she traps them again. Because both times she's done this, she's tricked them into telling them everything that they know, like completely if you ever saw the TV show Suits, in the prison scenes with when the guy first goes to prison, that is exactly what happens. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. So I don't necessarily want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen Suits, but basically the gist of it here is that hold on. There we go. I gotta peel that skin out of there. So they're fighting the hag, and when they can kill the hag, it's not a problem. The problem is that if they don't kill her right away, if they get killed, they can no longer guarantee they know where they are anymore, because she will do it. And she knows they're dangerous enough that is what she does. So the threat of fighting the hag is not knowing whether or not the next 10 sessions or not are going to be complete bullshit. And if they're complete bullshit, what are they giving away about themselves in the process? Because they're going to keep meeting new people and having new challenges. And if it's just a dream, then it's just the hag fucking with them. So there's like this low simmer paranoia going on where they're not quite sure what's going on. So so they're fighting their way through shit. And it's a great campaign. It's absolutely great. But what I could have done instead is I could have not had the hag reveal herself yet, and instead just let the phase spiders catch up with the team, teleport through the traps, and just eat the characters, and then they have another threat. So so once they figure out the paralysis trap, then I can use the phase spiders on them. So it'll be whatever. The traps don't even really matter. The traps are there to slow them down. When you can't permanently kill a character, the only thing, ironically, that means anything is time. They have as many times to do it over and over again, but if they fuck up, they've just screwed up that day, and they have to do it again. So it's the inconvenient. It's like literally, it's like the exponential growth of the inconvenience of time, and it's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that one. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with these layers, but I think I'm okay. So he's doing okay down here. I have your skin now. Kid, that's hair. That's more hair. Skin. So let's type in skin. All right, so whether I finish here on stream or not, Monday we're starting on more cartography for the little vignettes, and so I hope I get this done, but it doesn't really matter. I'll do it some downtime on Saturday. I realize I fuck around a lot here on Thursday nights and Monday nights because I like to stare at the camera and talk about stuff that's exciting to me. Big difference from the morning stream. Morning stream, I'm just waking up. I'm just pushing pixels. It's like if I get on stream and let the muse take over, I can get like another half hour of sleep. So that was the oh crap that I said at the beginning of all of this, because I realized that I could have killed them with the phase spiders instead of having the hag play her hand so early on. But I actually, now that I'm thinking about, now that I've talked it through with you guys, and thanks for being here, I'm realizing I'm actually pretty happy it played out in this order, because now they realize the severity of the severity of the risk. That they're really taking on the hag right now, and that could potentially go sideways on them. And that's how you fuck with 19th level characters. Because you can't, I mean, if I ran a normal D&D campaign, you either have to be a little soft on them, or they have to be really, really smart about getting away from a fight. And this is a brand new team, so they don't have a lot of normal, like stepping into this campaign, they had no experience about how to pace resources, how to protect themselves. Even though we started at first level and we're now at 19th level, it's when the campaign began, I felt it would be better to not. I didn't want to have to rely upon balancing things properly, because when we did our session 0, and I asked them some of the parameters that they wanted the campaign, like how the campaign played, the meta of the campaign. I asked them during session 0, how do you guys want this thing to play? This is your first time playing D&D. What expectations do you have? And like, we want an ongoing story. Like, I was like, do you want episodic, or do you want a serial story? It's like, yeah, we definitely want serial. We want the same story the entire way through. One of the new players is familiar with Critical Role, so he's like, yeah, I want to have like a full story arc where our characters are progressing through things. And it's like, okay. and then I was death. Do you want to use? Do you want to try to have the same character the entire campaign, or do you want a campaign where you have a troop and you can rotate what characters you're using at the time? And they all said, well, I think this is our first rodeo, so let's keep it simple and have just single characters that we have for the entire story. Like, okay, what's your tolerance about death? Like, do you want your character? Will you be okay if your characters, since you're playing only one character, how okay are you with your characters dying, or are you not okay with that? And they all unanimously came back saying, hey, if we can use the same characters the entire campaign and not have to worry about losing them, then that's awesome. And I'm like, well, I've never ran a game that way, so let's figure it out. And that's how the time travel thing came to be, because I can technically be as brutal on them as I want, but they still get to play their same characters the entire 20 levels. So I come back and I say, this is what we're planning to do. I think I didn't tell them about the time travel at all. I was just like, I think I have a way for us to have a serial adventure. It'll involve you guys in a village town that's having supernatural occurrences that you want to investigate. So here's a stack of different characters that you can choose from. I pre-generated for you that fit that fit the flavor of what I want the campaign to be, and at first level. And then as the game evolves and you become more familiar with it, you can build on it from there. So, and then I handed them basically a piece of paper on that had a number of different illustrations on it. Basically just Reddit and stock art pictures of different character classes. Like, this is like 6 or 7 different types of fighters. These is 6 or 7 different types of rangers. This is 6 or 7 different types of rogues, clerics. I had what did I have? I had a rogue, a fighter, a ranger, a warlock, a druid, and a sorcerer, and so they got to pick from those. There was only 4 players, and there was seven characters to choose from. So they were leaving a lot on the table. So it's like, if you guys ever decide you want to switch characters, you can switch to one of these characters. They're like, okay. So God, this face is looking. I don't know what's wrong with you, kid. There's something wrong with you. There's definitely something wrong with you. Oh God, I have to merge all this down soon. That face is just freaking me the fuck out. But the colors are proper. I just have to fix it. Like, I have to fix all of that. That is just, it's freaking me out a little. So they picked their characters and they went into it, and the investigation was that somebody had hanged themselves. A husband and a wife. The wife went missing, and the husband hanged himself from a statue of a dragon. It's a 50-foot tall dragon statue that overlooks the town, the fields, the whole valley that this community grew up in. It's as a protective spirit. And so this guy went up to the top of the dragon's neck and up to the top of the dragon's head, which is, it's a DC 15 climbing check, so it's no joke. It's a tough climb, and hanged himself. So there you go, buddy. So like, what's going on? Like, why did that happen? So the team wanted to investigate why that was happening, and while they were there, they realized that there was an opening that led into the dragon that nobody ever knew about, that led to weird temples with all sorts of like different colored magic runes just covering everything. And while they were poking around and trying to figure out there was like a lot of traps, so they were struggling to get through that place, and they had to run away and heal up with a short rest and come back in, and they got just deep enough in that they were concerned about going any further, and then a bunch of orcs showed up like they owned the place, like they knew what sigils to touch to deactivate the traps, they knew how to open up the doors, and they're like, "You're in our place," and they're like, "Yeah, we're realizing that pretty quickly." It's like, well, since you were smart enough to get in here, you're probably smart enough for us to help us. There's something going wrong with reality. Can we have your help? We need puzzle solvers. And they're all like, okay. And then, so during that process of explaining these things, the druid decided to be able to earn the trust of the tribe to get to that conversation. She had to swear respect and fealty to Grumsh, the Orcish god of the Orcish godfather. So the druid did, and the shaman asked if she wanted to be bestowed the gift of Grumsh. It'll allow you to see things that no one else can see, and she's like, well, that sounds cool as shit. So I'm on board, and she doesn't know anything about Grumsh. So the shaman reached out and stabbed out her eye, and then when all the ichor of her eye bled out, there was a shining light inside of her skull, and she had permanent detect magic. So she'll cover it up if she's going into polite society, but she'll lift it up and just have her like glowing eye of God, just glaring at people. If she wants to be a bastard. Such a cool campaign. It is awesome. It is so freaking cool. I love that campaign to death. So I gotta find a color scheme for this gal. So let's open up our shit. He just locked up. Of course it did. Just now trying to get serious. Hook patrons. Yeah, it's working out. I'm happy about that. I feel really good. Oh, I want to hit the reference button. I want to ask if you still had any planned connection between the town's well and the dungeon, just in case someone in the party decides to investigate the well. It's a good 20 miles. So that's a pretty extensive river system. I have not built the Underdark underneath there, but if I revisit the content, there is absolutely caverns and river systems underneath there. I just haven't mapped them. So you could easily have something that connects them. The underlying river system that flows through there. The sinkhole area, the flooded ruin area just before you get into the final ritual room. The black pudding that's at the bottom of it is clogging the hole that would lead down. That's the sinkhole that would lead into the Underdark cavern system. And it's the same cavern system that feeds the well that they're using. It's just most wells are using little cracks that flow through the rock and then open up into looser surface that eventually gets eroded away and then silted out through other cracks. So you have like these little pockets, and so that's where you can pull well water through. The water table is literally where all the water sits before it hits hard granite. So like there's a soil layer in between. That's where they get into. And then you can also have underground lakes and rivers, like Underdark style. So if you push down far enough into the dirt, you eventually hit it. And then sinkholes will happen. And when a sinkhole happens, it's just an invitation to go to hell. So they pop up occasionally in D&D worlds, and then you have to deal with it from there. But they're super fun. So if you wanted to have a connection between the two of them, you can. But it would completely null out all the content in the book. So I don't recommend it for now. What I do recommend is that the well just uses the groundwater to feed it, and then since the facility is already 500 feet underground, the well might not necessarily even have to go that deep to be able to amass water. It could only go maybe about, let's say, 100 feet and it'd be fine. But this thing's dug down through rock, so this is between the sedimentary the sediment layer where the water table is at, and then through the solid stone. That's when you start finding hellscape caverns and underdark. And so that black pudding is basically the wad of gum that's clogging the drain to hell. And as soon as you peel him out, then it just opens up into Kyber, which is no coincidence because the ritual has been terraforming the interior space, and it immediately found a passage into Kyber, which is the hellscape aspect of the Underdark in Eberron. So they can connect, not the well. I recommend just leave the well a normal well with just using a water table. That feels good. And that. What's going on over here? Whoa. What do you got going on, weirdo? I think I might like the cut of those checkers. Nope, way too red. Alright. Whoa. I choose you, Pikachu. There you go, buddy. No. We'll go with this instead. Yes. Good. Alright. Back out. Let's get blue. Perfect. Here we go. That would absolutely be a fun expansion. Something else fun that I can do in the future is like take the cemetery during like Halloween next year, maybe. It would probably be realistically 2025 when I actually do it. But whenever I get around to it, on a Halloween, I can take that cemetery map and give it a different narrative. Andy and I were talking about like a scavenger hunt around the cemetery to collect relics to fight the unbeatable undead that lairs in the central crypt. So your objective, if you were to choose to accept it, would be to assemble the different pieces and then attack the dungeon boss in the crypt with all the weapons. And so as you go from different location to location in the cemetery, it has that fog of war effect, right? So there's like in Gauntlet, there's infinite spawning undead coming out of the pools of water until your team wades into the pool of water and kills the monster generator that's spitting out corpses every D4 rounds. So you have to actually like Gauntlet style, you actually wade in and destroy the monster generator to stop the threat. Otherwise, there's an endless stream of literally an endless stream of undead that are coming at you at whatever rate is determined effective. So you could upscale pretty heavy with this, or weaken the creatures for lower level characters. But regardless of how you decide to play it out, it's yeah, so we could reskin the entire environment. It's still roughly the same. Like the sarcophagi, they could have. I mean, they currently have wraiths in them, right? So there's 6 wraiths, 6 sarcophagi, and this is on the central pathway leading to the central crypt. Let's not here. Good. But they could just as easily like be mummies or shadows, ghasts, vampires, whatever undead you want to throw in those sarcophagi, you're welcome to do so. Just for 8th level, wraiths are a pretty good threat.
but it may serve as an opportunity to collect more information. I think. Oh, wait. I don't imagine it nulling out the content. Hold on, there. I don't imagine it nulling out the content in the book. I think it would only delay it because I don't think the party is able to make a 20-mile trek, though the Underdark is in the right direction. So, but it may serve more as an opportunity to collect more information. Oh, like to have them nesting in the town and being like being distracted with the Underdark by having a red herring that has them go down, explore it, come back up to the surface of the village, camp out for a few days, and then go back down into the well. That's fucking genius, my man. Holy fuck. I love that. That's fantastic. I'm sold. You could just random up some, like, just go to dungeon.com or whatever and just random up a cavern environment that's like maybe 7 rooms or something, and have some sort of like undead twisted creature that's being poisoned by the Mavar energies that are radiating throughout the area. You could even have undead crawling up out of the well directly if you went that approach. So that's a great way to put a spin on it. Like, I could recycle that entire village into another adventure. It doesn't even have to be on DMsGuild, honestly. It's just a generic village. It's my map. So I could use it again on anything I wanted. But, I mean, that could be, virtually any system. Vagabond, Morkborg, Pathfinder, D&D. But that scenario just by itself of having a cavern where the well, I literally have never done that as a DM. I can't imagine I haven't done that. But yeah, just a well in the middle of nowhere. Now, fuck, it's a piss hole to hell. Here we go. Like, it starts with the water being poisonous and starting to sicken people. It's like, what's going wrong with our water? There's something down there. We need heroes. They go down there and they find just hell on earth, under earth, and then it eventually leads to the black pudding. Or you could have it open up into the room, like just move the black pudding forward a room, so that they can come up in area 10, and then still have to wade through all the threats. Not have the black pudding in the last room, but in the room forward. So that's where they show up through, and then they have to fight through those two. Either back out, like either crawl through the gaps and get into the main, like the main foyer, or shut up, or take the side path to lead them down into the scientist poison tunnels, or they take the hard combat path, wrap around and find the nexus happening right now, and actually shell out the adventure from the outside in. Or from the inside out, from the very back, hitting the bad guys when they're fresh with a day's rest. Just obliterating them. And it's like, hey, what's going on? And then reversing their way out of the dungeon with all the mercenaries like crap, you killed our employers. And so now they're trying to capture you. Or you can recruit them because there's more and more caverns underneath there. So since you just accidentally X'd this necromancer, like, oops, sorry about that guy. Oh shit, you're an entire legion? Let's do some dungeon crawling, dudes. And then you take a whole troop down into the dungeons and start just fighting monsters at a grand scale. Oh my god, I would love that. And a black pudding through the... Yes, exactly. But wouldn't be able to fight it from that direction underwater in its waste from below. Oh, I see. Maybe. That makes sense. So, well, I mean, what would compel them to go around then? Like, it'd just be, like, if that's the end of the line, then they're like, oh, that's the end of the line, whatever, and then they leave. It's like, I guess that was anticlimactic. There has to be some sort of an event that makes them want to get into that space. Like some sort of, like, mega crawdad that uses that chamber as a lair, and it's become undead, or it's a demon, like it's a demon crawdad, like a 20-foot crawdad that uses that hole to go down into the Underdark and start corrupting the space underneath the village, like on purpose, and then it crawls back, and that's its lair next to the Nexus. So if they can kill the massive beetle, that'll be a big challenge through a choke point underwater, worrying about drowning or burning resources to breathe water, to fight this crawdad in its lair. And when they fight through it, they pop up. It's like, crap, assassin vines,
Steroper is there, and you know all the good bits. And you could wall off access to the Nexus if you wanted to, so you'd have to go around if you wanted to. You just drop in a fake wall there, or you let it just be accessible there. It's like, I just fought your giant fucking crawdad. Now I'm going to kill you guys. What's this artifact thing? Why are there demons everywhere? And then you have to figure out what's going on with that. And then you got the teleportation thing going on. It's like, what is this place? And now they become really interested in it. And now they have the mercenaries. And if there are things that they're fucking with, God damn, I'm not painting again. Sorry, guys. You got me monologuing again. We'll go with this one or that. Yeah, that's a better color. Good highlight. Nice. Let's go with this as a base color. I would love that as an expansion. I could so get into that. Like, that could be like a first, like a 3rd through 8th level expansion. So you could start them off like, this is their village and these are all the horrible things that are going wrong. Yeah, super into that. Yeah, that's super cool, man. God, I hope I pray that I get to this eventually. That I build the Temple of the Frozen Heart adventure that I used as a Let's Play as a guest DM for the Color Mana system I was highlighting. Because there is so much cool shit that I can do with that adventure too. It's just, man, there's so much cool crap you can do with just adventure content, man. Adventures are just so freaking cool. Just as like little idea generators, little narrative spaces to fuck around inside of. It's just so cool. I know I'm always building, like most of my history has been building mechanics and like DM, like mechanical systems, subsystems, player options, ways to change how the game is played. But I'm really loving building content to be played. You know, it's nice. It's a different side of the kit bashing that is third content. You know. Yeah, third party content is the word I'm trying to say. It's a lot of fun. It takes a fuck ton of time. I guess it wouldn't have. I mean, I guess at some point I really have to have a conversation about, do I want to keep doing full color on like absolutely everything, or do I just want to do that for like the cover and title sections, and then go with black and like just do line art for the rest? I'm not tempted to make the Underdark a full of watery undead as huge gauntlet. Hell yeah, man, until they reach the pudding. Get stuck, head back through another undead gauntlet. They level up. Yeah, it would. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, like 5th level. Like you depending on how expansive you want it.
we could start them off at lower levels. And 20 miles is a lot of ground to cover in a dungeon. Especially if you break it down to the 5-foot space. Like if you're like actually plugging your, like if you're doing like 10, 15 cavern bursts, like little knobs along the different underground rivulets, then you could easily have in a 20-mile space like 6 or 7 of those, no problem. And if each one of them is enough of a hassle to give you a level, or even 2 of them to give you a level, then you could, if you kept this at an 8th level challenge, then you could easily bring them in 3rd, 4th level. Get them through all of that stuff just to run into the dead end, but to know that there's like so much more they can go down into. Because if you don't need them, like if you don't need them to dive into the Nexus, then don't worry about it. Like they don't know about it; they'll find out about it eventually. When all these undead start showing up in the forest outside of the town, whenever you decide to have them show up, the ritual's going. You wouldn't have any idea until the weather started getting weird and the moon started doing strange shit and all the animals started running away, and now there's a zombie in my yard. That shit'll kick in eventually. Let them have fun. And then if they get attacked by zombies, they're going to realize that there's another path. Like the threat isn't coming necessarily from the threat may be coming from underground, but there is a location underground, if that is true, that is spitting out undead at a higher rate than what your village well is doing. So that would naturally pull them in the direction into the forest instead of underground. But the underground can be like they could find like a cavern that just drops. And you can tell that there's things down there that branch off of that drop. It's like if they want to get brave around level 12 and dive down in there to find what evil is at the core of this planet, then by the time they get to 15th level, they're going to have a thing or two to say about how the world works. And if they secure the facility as their base of operations for this, they can keep people from being led to the village, so that the villagers can stay safe by creating a decoy out of that underground fortress by letting it do what it's supposed to do and protect something. That sounds pretty dope. And then you get the mercenaries that you can recruit to help you fight hell. They, I bet almost all of them would feel that's a great opportunity for some fucking redemption in their lives about after fighting a war. So you could have a very friendly disposition from that. Like at most they're going to be neutral, because if you were carrying badges, they'll be neutral. Even without the badges, you've got a chance of them not being very hostile towards you just because of what you're offering. Like, wow. We can get off the paramilitary kick and start doing some actual soldier work. There might be some bitter irony, recognizing that maybe the reason there's undead running around underground is because our nation's been steeped in necrotic magic for like 200 years. Sounds like we're getting what we deserve, and that kind of sucks. So if it's going to take more lives to save the community, then that's what heroes step up to do, to knock out the problems. Repent through steel. God can't curse you if you kill him. She looks grumpy. I think I'm okay with that. I'm super okay with her being grumpy. Not everyone is meant to be a farmer. Nothing wrong with hating your life.
Kind of looks like it. She's like, I wish I was killing things. I wish I had a fucking badge. How'd you get that badge? I want the authority to tell people to fuck off. Yeah, that's exactly why you don't. Shut up, Paul. Noise. At this scale, it's not really that big of a... Actually, it looks pretty good at that scale. Obviously not having as good of a time as the one that's just covered in kids, but... I guess that's the military for you. You pick your own battles, right, kid? All right. Let's see, what time is it? 8:14. Cool. I got time to rant for a while. So I was listening to Daniel over on Bandit's Keep, and he runs a great YouTube channel. He talks about first edition, BECME, second edition, old school philosophies for D&D, like why things were, how they resolved stuff. And that's not the only stuff that he talks about, but he's a long tooth like I am, so he remembers the days, and he, like I can, observe how the world has shifted. But he stayed inside of the first edition game space, watching 5e, while I've been in the 5e game space and pulling elements of 1e into the 5e engine one piece at a time. So we see eye to eye on a ton of stuff. And he had I listened to one of his discourses on keeping time in a campaign, and he made and he said he was about to go on a parallel tangent about squad play. And so that's what got my trigger itching today about talking about stuff, which was the next campaign I plan on running for my home table is going to be a squad style. But I also have a playtest coming up for the martial power system, which will maybe kick off in December or January. I'm not positive at this point, but somewhere around then. But I'm going to make that a squad style also, because if it's a playtest, players should have the opportunity to pick up and put down any kind of characters they want at the level that we're playing at. So we can just make I got to fix my chair's cushions. So if it's a squad campaign, you've got like maybe a caravan of like 20 creatures that could be characters. If they get toggled, like you are now a sorcerer, and the reason why you haven't been down in the dungeon fighting with us is because off screen you've been dealing with, make a couple rolls, scouting this region to locate like goblins, and there's like some random artificers that are running around trying to wake up some machinery. Like they can recon for you while you're down in the dungeon. And when you get wounded, you're doing your long rest, you can then swap out your characters and use like, okay, well, you did your scouting, thanks for that. We'll cover our shift up here, and then you go down to the dungeon. Here's what we've secured so far. So you can swap. I was like I want to go back down in with you because I wanted to make sure you guys see what this thing is that we have to deal with. So you can swap out or keep characters as you go down into the dungeon, or you can switch your focus and then deal with the scouting. So you get to swap your characters, swap your task in the squadron, but the team would be making that decision together as part of the playtest to then test to field test different things. Like if you want to do scouting and exploration stuff, then everyone loads up on characters that have a lot of exploits, reactions, and maneuvers. Exploits, reactions, and sustained powers, so that you can be spending your mana on mitigating threats in an open field, while you can send like fighters and paladins down into the dungeon to fight with the denizens that you find in whatever dungeon it is that you guys are camping on. So like that's how I want to play that playtest. But in both of these circumstances, the style of play that oh wait, I gotta damn it, almost there, not quite there. I gotta do highlights on that cloak. So hold on, let me fix that real quick, and then we'll start fusing all this stuff down and working out the pens. This is where I want to be. I call you Cloak because you are a cloak. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Should check my RGB signs, man, before I go walking away thinking I did something. Oof. Okay, well, apparently I have to use the shadow instead of the highlight, Durf. That's okay. I know how to use shadows. Shadow the shit out of this, and then we'll move on. As soon as I get done bullshitting with this darkness, then I will fuse all of this together and start blending together and finish up the piece. Just smudging in some color. Well, so we're gonna have to break up the line art into individual components, which will be fun. Go like that, and then we're gonna darken this down here, up the size, the intensity of the smudging, plow through that a little bit quicker. What is blocking that? I bet it's hair. Yep. There we go. Darken that up in there. And we'll come back and grab leather coloring later. I just want to fuse. I'm just going to fuse it all together. Just lock this whole thing down and just treat it as just one piece. So, duplicate, merge, merge, don't do it, oh no, merge, stop, come back, merge, family. All right, we now have a single layer. If I use my eraser, I can trash all of it at the same time. But we've preserved the individual layers here so that I can come back and screw it up again a different way later if I need to. Knock on wood, I haven't needed to go back on any of the paintings once this year. So I'm go ahead and jinx myself there. Probably the reason I'm bringing it up is because I can feel it's going to happen. But I am proud that it has been a year. Even if I have to go back on it tomorrow, I am proud that I've been able to develop forward and finish with pride any piece that I've created the entirety of 2023. Yeah, this is I can legit read that. It's pretty fucking awesome. I'm not used to that. I like this. Let's go with let's do this guy first. I'll do his eyebrows later. This is blend. Oh, that's right. We want to do external cleanup first. You know what? I need to drop that line weight. There. Thank you. Now we can merge. Excellent. I'm gonna hit the save button. I'll put in teeth later. Eyes later. I just want to take care of first right now I'm just going to take care of the outline here, so I'm cleaning up the edges. So this is the squads, squad play. It's you don't worry about any specific character, and if your character dies, it was just the character you're playing today. It's not the team's focus is more on the squad than any of the individual characters. And you can either choose to limit what type of character are going to be available for the next like 3 or 4. Like you could have you can decide we only have one sorcerer at a time. If the sorcerer dies, then we have no sorcerer for X days. You can impose those kind of rules to create challenges for yourself in general. But for the most part, it doesn't really matter. If you want to have, if you want to have 20 sorcerers in your squad of 20 characters, go for it, man. Have all 20. That's the team's choice. You guys get to decide which characters are there, and then the DM gets to introduce new things as new characters come into rotation. But you never really focus too closely. You don't look too closely at what it is that you're creating the illusion of, which is that you have basically a military, like a military platoon that is operating with so many soldiers that you don't know the name of all of them. The 5 or 6 characters that are really important, but the rest of the grunts are kind of in the background. So you can you just bring those grunts forward in the narrative when your character dies. You just rank up a grunt, or if you're going to run scouting while you're also dungeon delving as a shift of focus for your adventure, then you can detail them as much as you want. But then you also need to have a steady source of where new characters would come from. So you have this meta, you have it's almost like your caravan is a mobile monster generator, but instead it generates replacement characters. You just don't ask about their narrative too deeply. It's just, Paul's always been there. He loves backgammon. Remember, he won that tournament 3 weeks ago. Huh? Phil, I know this is bringing up that's time for you, but although they work for each individual, the woman's hair and the man's clothes being the exact same color looks weird next to each other. Oh, really? Thank you. Her hair is the same as his clothing? Holy shit. Did that happen? Hey, thank you. You know what? That's really important shit for me to know. I was trying to borrow off of this guy's hair, and somehow we ended up in that space. Huh. Interesting. Context is everything, my man. Well, I'll steal from his hair instead. Ooh, maybe her. His. Dark. Very, very dark. appreciate that, man. Very much. So I'm going to build a new layer here so I can just rebuild the hair. Sometimes I fuck up. I may have caught that. But I didn't, so thank you. No, it was perfect timing. Immediately is always the perfect timing. Well, I just like that better anyway. Jesus, now she feels really goth. Yeah. Saving my life over here, Nitro. God bless you. Just that just looks so forlorn in there. So great. So fucking depressing. What did you give up, lady? The world doesn't need psychopaths anymore. It needs farmers. She's honestly secretly excited about the undead. Be a good replacement character if somebody got axed. She is no longer the decorated warrior hero that misses casting firebolts. Now she's a veteran that misses casting Eldritch Blast. Special units that were encouraged to make pacts with demons as a down low operation on the side, as a special ops group to get special information that might be more difficult to achieve otherwise. But now that the war is over, they're considered war criminals. So yeah, decorated when they needed her, but she sacrificed her soul for that shit. She's completely on board with the Karnathi's humanist sort of perspective that humanity is God, because she can feel that she lost what made her special as a human. She can feel it, and she hates it. And she hates the military for tricking her into it. And she especially hates the demon for bailing on her when she begged him to help. My dear, if you didn't think this was going to happen, you really didn't read the contract at all, did you? She hates him for that because she never learned how to read. Tragic story of a illiterate warrior. Join the Carnathy military. If you survive long enough, we will teach you to read. Big attractor. A much more significant draw than one would think. There. Now she really looks pissed. I like the Aquiline nose. I'm an Aquiline fan. It just looks strong. There. Not bad. Fuse all that down like it's not a mistake and get back to work. I'm so happy this is my life. There is such a dopamine surge that you get when you hit the lighting the way that you want it, like when you carve a form out of a shape by fucking around with the lighting on it. Love it. And I love that I was able to catch some expression on her face. My stills are strong. I know that's true. I want to get my characters in action to be able to express as much character as I can pull out of them when they're still shots. Like, I think that'll be a decent accomplishment for me as an artist. I'm getting there. This stream. Oh, hey, Peyton. How long have you been doing art? How long have I, like, art in general? I started drawing tanks and helicopters when I was 5 years old. That was 43 years ago. But I didn't actually start doing art for role-playing games until I was 12 when I fell in love with Robotech in the 80s. And so I got into the Robotech role-playing game. I was given Dungeons & Dragons red box set and the first edition Unearthed Arcana, because my parents just grabbed books off the shelf. They didn't fucking know, and I didn't know either. So I just got a hodgepodge of different books and adventures, and it turns out my cousins used to play, but they stopped when they got into sports. So they gave me all like like Dungeon Quest, and like 7 or 8 different first edition or BX adventures. A lot of stuff, and I fell in love with it. And so that's what took me from drawing tanks with dotted lines for gun pathing to how do I illustrate a character in armor, and then from armor I got into mecha with Robotech, and the Robotech role-playing game was awesome because I was reading. I had seen the series a lot, like when it first aired on TV, and I saw and I read all the books because the novels for Robotech are really, really good. If you're into that sort of stuff, the novels are fantastic. They do a great job visualizing mecha combat. Like the narrative of the text is just amazing. Chef's kiss. But so yeah, from there I got into robots, and then so I got a bunch of Art of Robotech books so that I could study the different mecha in there, and it was all the character art as well, and different scenes and structures, and it was like a 300-page book, and it was just every page just art, cells like cells from the TV show, and then like the line art from that cell, and then a breakdown of the characters in the background. Like I unintentionally took a massive crash course in anime art just by staring at that book for so many hours when I was 12. And so that got me into, oh yeah, I don't need to have fully armored characters. Now I have some really good manga to teach me good, like really aesthetically pleasing character body ratios. So it was a good book for me to learn off of. And then I got into comics because I was looking for more examples of good anatomy or fun anatomy, or how to do like sorcerer effects. And there's a lot of that sort of sorcery, psionic, warlock stuff going on in Marvel Comics and in Image Comics. So I love this song. So that just further educated me from there. And of course, during all this period, I'm playing D&D. I had bought like the Art of Dragonlance and had like 70 paintings in that book from Keith Parkinson and Larry Elmore and Jeff Easley. So I had a Clyde Caldwell. I loved how sharp and crisp all his like all his characters were always under harsh lighting. It was like just such great dichotomy. He really made me fall in love with separating objects from each other with highlights and stuff. It was just, it was so fun. So much fun. And so I kept illustrating, and then I was like drawing campaigns and characters and making maps because I was a forever DM already. By the time I was 16, I was a forever DM. So I got to play for a little while in college, which was awesome. But that was for about a 3-year stint, and then actually for only about 2 years. And then by third year in college, I'd taken over as DM, and it basically always been DM since then. However, in Arizona, when I moved to Phoenix, I had a kid of friends that I would DM for, but some of them would also DM. So while I was DMing, I was also playing, and that was in my early 20s. And then I got into play-by-post in my 30s when I got really busy with work and being yuppish. Yeah, welcome to the mix, man. So yeah, I've been DMing for about 30, like full-time DMing, like basically 32 years. Painting for about 32 years, and then what am I, 48, 12, 36, and then doing art for 36. And I started getting hired as a freelance illustrator during 3rd edition in 2001, when the PDF market took off for role-playing games online, drive-through RPG and stuff like that. I wasn't a game creator back then. But I was an illustrator, and I was a reliable one. So I got a lot of fun gigs with third-party, small-time groups that were dipping their toe into doing content production, just like so many people are doing now with 5th edition. And so I basically got hired on to build art. That some of it's stuff I retained rights to, some of it isn't. Depending on how much they were willing to pay for me, I was basically a book illustrating mercenary. And it was a lot of fun. In the earlier days, it was just black and white art, pencils, inks, gradient shading. I'm awesome at that shit. Always been pretty good with it. So it was easy for me to get a gig. And once it moved into color, that's when I had to learn how to. I'm colorblind, so I don't see any color at all. So I had to learn how to paint in color, which is why Nitro earlier here caught me with the hair color being the same as the clothing color, because I didn't vet my colors properly, and I ended up not knowing they were the same color. So my audience, God bless you guys for being here, because I probably would have caught it eventually, but there's a chance that I wouldn't have. And if I didn't, then it could have gone on to publication that way, and someone would have eventually mentioned it to me, and I would have immediately changed it and fixed it and then republished the piece. Because that happens. So I can't remember the last time it happened, but you guys have helped me dodge. You guys have helped me dodge enough bullets at this point that makes me think that I've probably been hit a few times. I just don't know I'm bleeding out yet. So we'll see what the future holds for us. But when the market started having reasonable color print-on-demand costs, that's when I had to really confront the fact that I'm trying to be a professional artist who can't paint in color. I'm kind of fucked now that that's the direction that the market is going. And so I had to figure out a way to resolve that. And so one of my friends challenged me. He's like, "You say you can't paint in color. Have you even tried?" And I'm like, "I don't even know how I would try." It's like, I guess that's just going to make it more challenging. I'm like, I guess you're right. And then a year later, I bought him a bottle of whiskey as a thank you for pushing me to do it, because I figured it out. It all comes down to it comes from pulling color references. Since there's a color picking tool, I can track my RGB up here. So as I'm tooling around, I should be able to. I generally can find RGBs configurations that have the colors that I need, but occasionally I fuck up. Usually when I fuck up, it's because I had a poor sample. But in this case, the different pictures that I'm sampling from are using their own different color distinctions. So what might be acceptable as color on hair in this particular piece comes off as fabric color in this piece. And that's how I made that mistake. And that's actually a pretty good learning lesson for me. So I stream 6 days a week. Mondays and Thursday nights like this, I'm doing Eberron artwork. I'm talking about whatever it is I'm talking about. And on Monday through Friday in the morning, I do Spelljammer art. I have a Spelljammer book that I've produced, playtested, it's ready to go. It just needs the artwork. So I've been making the artwork for the past year. Literally, it's been a year, me building out that book. But it's a much better. I've found better ways to express things in wording. I got to simplify a lot of stuff. It's a stronger book for the long time it's took for us to produce it. But I'm really proud of that book, and so that's what I do on Monday through Friday in the morning. Tuesday I do book development. I've got a new book that I'm building the mechanics for that I'm going to be playtesting in I'll have open calls for people to playtest in December for the martial power system, which is a mana resource for martial characters to do the impossible. And let's see. Oh yeah, and then on Saturday I either do commissions or personal projects. And right now I'm doing a commission for some DMsGuild publishers that have an adventure that needed a unique monster that I've got a reputation for being able to deliver. So they offered me some gold, and I took on the job. And so I stream its production on Saturday mornings, Saturday early afternoons. I'm going to take a lunch break on Saturday, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to continue exploring the Monsters Compendium of Eldraine. Since they're using Magic the Gathering monsters, and I am the one that produced the 5-color mana spell point variant rules for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, I like to stay on top of the Magic the Gathering stuff that gets imported into 5th edition, so that I can see if my philosophies about color are the same as the professionals at the company that produces both Magic the Gathering and D&D. So when they have a cross promotion project, I use it for color referencing and basically color theory, like how different classes are expressed, creatures are expressed, the abilities that they have, the spells that they cast. I've got a pretty consistent model that is so far batting about 90. Like I'm batting about 90% on point with where they're at. The only thing that we've had that was contested at this point was they gave Compelled Duel to a creature with white mana, while generally have Compelled Duel as red or maybe black. So them saying that Compelled Duel is a white effect makes me want to reconsider what we may have limited the white spells to be. So I'm doing a complete rebuild of the color mana system once the new edition comes out. So I'll have an opportunity to integrate Strixhaven and Theros into the main books that I'll be rebuilding, just as a quality of life improvement. But I've also got like the sorcerer, like spell point sorcerers underway, and then the martial power system uses the same universal spell points that the color mana system anchors onto. So I rebuilt color. I rebuilt magic systems into a more linear spellcasting spell point progression, and then that allows you to have 1-to-1 ratios between different colors or elements or emotions or whatever kind of magic it is that you're using in your paradigm. You can split magic. Instead of 8 schools of magic, you can have 5 colors of magic. You can have 4 elements of magic. You can have hammer, rock, scissors if you want. You can do, paper, rock, scissors, lizard, Spock, if you want to. Or you can just have like light and darkness as 2 of them, but generally 3 or more is where you're going to want to be. Or what I like to do is because I'm such a geek for color magic, for marshals, have them pick 2 colors, like the guilds of Ravnica. Pick 2 guild colors, and then assign different types, like the different categories of powers, like exploits, reactions, strikes, maneuvers, and sustained powers. Those are the 5 different disciplines of martial power. And a martial character like a Rakdos barbarian would have black and red magic. So the barbarian may assign black mana to, like, say, strikes, like maybe maneuvers and exploits, while the red mana would be strikes and reactions. And then the sustained powers would be either black or red, your choice. So you could use both of your colors to sustain, to have ongoing aura effects that enhance your character. And then all those other things are like on use mana. So that's a mana system for characters. But the magic, using a magic paradigm, allows you to sculpt the feel of your campaign a lot. So when they publish something like the Eldraine, it's an opportunity for me to look at creatures that they took from the Wilds of Eldraine. It's a promotional piece. Let's be honest. They're talking about Wilds of Eldraine to the D&D community. There is a decent chance that somebody that plays D&D that grabs hold of this is going to be like, I'm interested in the Wilds of Eldraine now, because it's got a lot of weird shit going on, and I want to see where that's all coming from. And if you're a lore geek, then there's a ton of it there for you. So that's a rabbit hole that they're opening up under people that want to dive. And
I don't care about the lore at all. It's the mechanics that I love. I'll build my own narratives. I don't need to know who Jace or Chandra is. I just need to know that fire is red and where do I point it. So it's fun. It's super fun and it's loose. And so like if you want to have a dual magic system, magic has 5 colors, but you can have your character limit themselves to only 2 of them. And there's 10 energies or 10 guilds or different philosophies or schools of thought that go behind color combinations like that. And so these are all guilds, like Rakdos is black and red. It's a demon from hell that has a fanatical following of Cirque du Soleil psychos. The Gruul clans is red and green. They're basically the most violent druids and barbarians you're ever going to meet. They're on a righteous crusade to save the planet from civilization. So they're constantly trying to destroy anything that's civilized, and it's fantastic. So they're red and green, and like Selesnya is green and white. They believe in structure and order and massive replication. They're a token creature with lots of protection and healing. So like they have like this super what is it? Collective, like a militant collective aspect of a groupthink collective society that requires you, that conscripts everyone. Everyone is forced to contribute into this pseudo-communist war machine because they grow their troops from trees and shit. So I mean, like they have a lot of soldiers, and like they get on. If an animal isn't sided with Gruul, they're going to be sided with Selesnya, the white green group. So like you can build character ideas out of these different guilds on Ravnica, and it's amazing flavor. But you can pick 2 colors. Like if you want a dual system where you're only dealing with 2 different colors of magic, then you can just simply limit your palette to only 2 colors. So that was a long story short, but that's kind of how we roll around here. But I was talking about squad games. So I was talking about color mana. Since I'm going to be playtesting the martial power system from basically like level 3 to 8, I think is the range that we're going to run. It'll probably take 3 to 8, 5 levels. That's going to be about 12 hours per level, 60 hours of play is a typical clip that I run at, and then we'll start over. So 100, maybe like I'll put in like maybe 120 hours worth of DMing. And so I'm going to do a hex crawl campaign. I want to do a Ravnica hex crawl campaign so that people can play with color mana. And we also have the option of not playing with color mana, just using color mana narratively, just as a description of color. But the mana that you use is actually just generic. You just decide what 2 colors your magic operates in, but actually devoting points of your mana to a specific color, so that you have to have that color in your pool, and you have to use that color magic to spend to activate an effect or to cast a spell, is a really fun limitation that feels, it's like a weird space between 3rd edition and 1st edition. Because 1st edition, if you had 5 spell slots, you had to pick which spells were going to be in each slot. So you're going to pick like 3 magic missiles, and then when you run out of 3 magic missiles, you don't have any more magic missiles today. So that's where the jokes about like war mages come from, because all they do is have like lightning bolt, fireball, magic missile, because those are like the combat spells that existed back then. So you would be able to you really defined your style of play by the spells that you picked. But with a color mana system, all spells are devoted to 1 or more colors. So the colors that you have in your mana pool determine what spells you have access to. And if you want to access a spell that's not naturally devoted to the colors that you want to specialize in, you can learn the spell twice. So you can learn it in the color that you want to, but now you know less spells. So it's an interesting way to nerf full casters, because they can still, if I know Fireball, I can throw as many Fireballs as I have red mana. But as soon as I run out of red mana, I can't throw any fireballs anymore. But I could also I could spend an extra spell slot and learn Fireball as a white spell. It'll still do fire damage, but now I can use white mana and red mana, or both, to trigger. You only need 1 point of mana of the color that you need. So like a Fireball would require 3 mana, one of which has to be red. So like if you had only, say, 8 mana, you could have one of each color and then like 3 more of one of the color. Like if you're the cleric and you're like into white magic, then you could have like 4 points of white magic and then like maybe even only 1 point of magic for each of the other colors. Or you could be hardcore and go with just 2 colors. So you had to learn all of your spells in one color or the other. But now you've got a shitload of mana in both colors. So you have less spells, but you can hammer out a lot more of them because you're not going to burn out your mana battery. Or you can spend time in making sure that the only spells you know are green. And so the way that you play your game is by, well, I only have access to green spells because I only want one color, green. And you can choose what colors are in your mana pool whenever you take a short rest. You can reshuffle your entire mana pool if you want to. But if you're narratively playing, say, a Rakdos character, the only colors you're ever going to have are Rakdos. So that means that you have to find out, like, if I've only got black and red mana and I want invisibility, a blue spell on my color list, I need to figure out how to get it there. I either have to research, steal, or find a way to get it onto my spell list so that I can make it red or black. Until then, I can't do it. So it's a really interesting, different approach to limiting the magic that you have access to as a full caster, without just saying each spell, like, it doesn't even have a spell slot, it's mana, so it's just a mana pool. So it's a really different way to approach how you manage and limit access to magic in the game. So like you could fight a wizard and that wizard has blue and white magic, but you're a red and green sorcerer. So like none of the stuff that he has is in the color that you use. So like you can't attune to it. So fun stuff like that. It's a self-nerfing system for people that recognize that magic is really powerful and generally, when you know what you're doing, unbalancing to the game, that love playing 5e but don't necessarily like the other solutions that are out there. This is a different approach that skews how you have to approach strategizing and optimizing your character's build. So I'm pretty proud of it. It's pretty fucking cool. It's in the description down below. And you can read all of them for free as part of the free preview that you can open up as a PDF document. If you think the shit's cool, consider buying it and joining me on Patreon, as this is the kind of crap that we do. I did something in a very different direction, but Spelljammer is kind of the same way. That I took the system that was provided to us and I just found a different way to express it differently, but still using 5e mechanics that lean into the aesthetics that I want, like high-speed fighter combat, fast scale zooming in and out, exploration being something that like really means something while you're drifting through space. Like these are all things I felt that was short in the Wizards Spelljammer publication. So I spent the past basically year and a half at this point building, testing, and illustrating the book that I do on Monday through Friday morning that goes into deep detail all this stuff. So I'll eventually start doing Kickstarters, but that also means I have to start using, I can't use Wizards IP when I kickstart unless all I'm kickstarting is the artwork. And I've seen a lot of YouTube channels out there with 300,000 subscribers on an artist that just paints and talks about shit. I might be that guy someday, and if I end up being a guy with 300,000 subscribers that illustrates D&D and talks about the days of yore, I could probably make $500,000 on a Kickstarter just for artwork because I'm building, like, say, a Ravnica book. But you know, if that's what the fates have in store for me, then there's literally nothing I can do to avoid it. Every instinct I have will draw me closer to that destiny. There's just no guarantee that it's actually my destiny, or how long that path is going to take. It's not my job to know. It's my job to feel inspired. But the idea there is that if it's something that's inspiring to you and that you're drawn to it, it's probably because it has something about whatever that energy or that emotion exists in is destined for you. Like, this might not ever be my career, but maybe doing this makes me feel a level of pride in the work that I do, that it transfers over to my day job, that has me stand out just a little bit more in the corporation, that they want to keep me in the next round of layoffs. Who knows? We don't know what fate holds. Or maybe I do get laid off. And that was fate's way of saying, hey, by the time you need to be worried about whether you have a job or not, something's going to open up and you're not going to have to worry about it anymore. Like, that's reality. That's how reality works. It's just terrifying because we have no idea how it's going to go. But at the very end, everyone always has peace. I do love aquiline noses a lot. There we go. Build out that nose, and then we're just going to work our way. I guess we're just kind of working our way down the page. So, tally ho. Hey, there's text I've been missing. That's I certainly appreciate the life that I have. For this stream, he's been at it for an hour and a half. I know that's the answer. Oh, that's the answer that you wanted. Anyway, so today I tell you that color choice doesn't look right, may need changing, so that tomorrow I can tell you, give them a wild grin that conveys what they want the ship to go fast. Yeah, Nitro, you've God bless you for being around, man. I truly appreciate it. I could stand to have another 200 of you. It's been a blessing. But if I get into Kickstarters and people buy into it, then they're gonna, hey, how's our book coming along, Phil? And like, well, here we are. The document's up on my Patreon. Go ahead and click through to it and go ahead and start fucking around with it if you want. And I'm gonna have some play tests kicking up next week. But I'll be streaming the maps in the evening, and I'll be doing the character art in the mornings. So people that invest into whatever the Kickstarter is that I'm talking about, they'll be able to check in on a daily basis. Throw me some hassle in the channel, build a Discord first, all to go sharpen our knives in, and whatever the fuck it is that we're messing around with, we can all go mess around with together. That's where I'd like to go. So, if that's where the muses think that I should be, I'm inspired to feel like that's a place I can be. So I suspect that the muses are at least playing with the numbers right now to see how they want to have that work out if it's true. But for now, my job in all of this is to be as true to myself and to follow my intuition and my heart as closely as I can, so that I have the opportunity to to notice the magic happening around me. All that takes is gratitude. I really like how that's turning out. Beep, 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 beep. Let's grab some of that. I'm hunting. Ooh, right. References. Ooh. What you got? What you got, fancy boy? I will wipe that grin off your face. I will take your joy from you. I will steal this spark. I will make it my own. No, you're probably right. Fatal on the edges. It's basically a cylinder. So you're doing a curved shadow, and then depending on if it's an underbite or an overbite is going to be on how the teeth come together. Then you drop down low and tap. 1, 2, 3, 1. There you go, teeth. We'll grab some of this whiteage in the background here. I'm going to pop into the layer real quick, and I'm going to drop the opacity down a bit. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a shine. Not that this is going to matter at all at the scale that this is going to be in the book at, but we know it's here, and you know we know it's here. This is ours. We found this stuff. We're here. We're putting in the work together. This is our place. Now would that guy in the middle look? How would that guy in the middle look like with some glasses? I don't know. Yeah, you gotta be careful about how derpy these things can get. It's because the eyes are built slanted down. Oh man, his eyes are off target. Stay with me, buddy. You gotta be looking at something. Let's give maybe he has some. Yeah, that's. I feel like I'm running into an uncanny valley right now. This is going to be a challenge. I don't do a lot of straight-on portrait type stuff for this exact reason. Duplicate, merge down. All right, this is a test layer. Let's see. I said earlier today that it's been an entire year, so like at no point in 2023 did I have to backtrack on anything that I saved as a bonfire save point in my painting to have to ever go back. And then I said I bet I'm going to get smacked down tonight for saying it. And these fucking eyes could very well be that karma being served up to me as a big fat piece of crow right the fuck now. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see if this shakes out. Nope, I fucking nailed it. It's actually a pretty fucking good eye. Oh, Kearney. You killed it, my guy. Good job. Don't slap yourself in the back too hard yet, son. You got another eye to do. Maybe he's been blinded too. Maybe there's just a rampant rash of one-eyed men running around my campaign. I'm starting to think a pair of glasses might be a really great idea for this guy. That sounds like a CNC Music Factory sort of thing to do. Gonna make you sweat till you bleed. Everybody jump, jump, everybody jump. Move. I think I'm okay with that. This eye's a little droopy, but I can be okay with that. Gonna make you sweat till you bleed. Everybody jump, jump, everybody jump. God, that lower lens is just really fucking good. Stealing it. Free transform. There. I see what you're saying now. By the way, I fucking nailed that. I am very, very, very pleased with that. no need to go back on that one like ever. This was smash success. Though I am still fucking with it. There we go. You know, I could just potentially just steal all of them. That looks so much more real. That was not on purpose, by the way. That was like I completely let go of the wheel on that one. That was 100% the muse just playing. Holy shit. Like, she just... Oh my god. There's a fucking master at the wheel, man. I am so fortunate tonight. I see what you're saying, though. That hook could hold 5 pounds, man. I tell you what, man, if I were to give him a class, I'd totally make him an artificer. He just has mess around with stuff kind of vibes. God damn, that was a good piece. $9.19. 11 minutes left. Yeah, I'm about to hit window. So we're gonna make this my last 10-minute stretch here. I thought I was gonna talk about squad parties. So yeah, platoons. But I guess I just didn't get around to it. So, and honestly, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. So I'm kind of thinking I want to finish this particular piece. I think I want to finish this on stream. I was proposing that I'd finish over the weekend just to get it off my plate and then start doing cartography again on Monday. But I'm really enjoying this. So I'm thinking I want to stick around and give a crack at getting this thing done on Monday instead. You know what? Honestly, I don't think I'm going to be here on Monday. I'm going to be here. I'll be on Sunday night instead of Monday. My week's kind of scuttled this weekend, so I won't be around Monday. I'll be around Monday morning, but I won't be around Monday night at all. And then, so I'm going to be on doing this Sunday night instead of Monday, and but the rest of my week is going to look. It should be looking pretty much the same. That's the only thing that's switching up this week. So maybe we'll have time to get around some glasses for you. I do a lot of exaggerated features on my characters. There's so much potential mixed blood between dwarves, gnomes, elves. Like there's nothing to say in a world that these things can't be freely blending with each other. So, and there's something about, I really like noses as a center point. Like all my characters always have something going on about their nose. Like this guy's got like a tiny itty bitty nose, and she's got an aquiline nose. He has an aquiline nose. He's got a bulby nose. He's got a bulby nose. He's got a bulby nose. It's just thick bushy brows. I just like messing around with what characters are. I think they're fun. I think they're a lot of fun. These guys are like that guy, like that second guy in the suit. Like that's got like major gnome vibes to me, which is appropriate for Eberron because those guys are bastards. I can feel I'm in the process of leveling up my my character's expressions, and just sculpting, flesh sculpting in general. I am pleased to have that. Putting it all in. I'm concerned because I'm kind of excited about Planescape. It feels like they're leaning in a lore direction, which is kind of what Planescape is like. Really leans into. There's not a lot of mechanics that go into Planescape at all. It really is more role playing than anything else. Planescape could be the best setting for D&D 5e. Period. But we'll see. We'll see how they do with it. Tentatively excited. I think Spelljammer made everybody a little gun shy in being excited about Wizard releases. That, and I think there was I'm pretty sure there was a very mixed response to Dragonlance as well. I don't think it provided. I believe the consensus is that it didn't provide enough for new fans to get them into Dragonlance, and it didn't provide enough for the diehard fans to feel like the setting was appreciated. So it's kind of a miss, which is a shame because it probably means we'll never see any more Dragonlance stuff. But it is what it is, you know. Oh, I'm just going to pop in a few minutes. So I'm just working my way down his body here. This is what you call a tangent. When one shape or form, like when one object line art flows into another object's line art, making them feel like they're part of the same brush stroke. Like this hair strand here met up with this clothing line like that. That's a tangent. So when you do that, you have to either embrace that it's there or figure out a way to break the angle so it's no longer tangential like that. And that's just an aesthetic decision. But like we were talking about earlier, earlier on today, about patterns, recognizing patterns in an object. Or was that this morning, or was that when we first logged on? Sessions bleed together, man, but we're always talking about something. I always assume people know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of hard to keep track, you know. Yeah, I could see him doing Druid. I think it's the earthiness of him. You know, I guess a little typecasty, but I'm okay with it. It's not stereotyping. It's archetyping. It's all in the execution of whether or not it's an homage or a mockery. But everything's that way. She's got the funk going on for sure. I love that. I just love that. Hey, how you doing, Shiner? I only got a few minutes left. It was great seeing you, man. We talked about all sorts of shit today. And Nitro saved you from fucking my painting up with the wrong colors. So, MVP yet again goes to Nitro. Thank you, my dude. You are the serum. Piece is coming along really nicely, though. I hear you. I know. 5 more minutes, Ma. Yeah, two big changes I see coming down the pipe is stock art on my Patreon. And I just lost the other thing. Oh, putting together, piecing together, editing together conversations that I have across multiple streams. So there'll be weird cuts to it, but I'll be able to have like an ongoing, like all the separate conversations I have about leveling up characters during like a 20 level campaign, for instance. Like conversations about threading together plot lines and how characters take control at the different tiers, and those conversations that we've had in the past. Piecing those together into a single video and then releasing that just as a diatribe, you know. Because I ramble about a lot of shit on these streams, and sometimes I even go back and listen to it and take notes. Like this is something I can do for this and this and this, and start having a plan about carving these conversations up and just being random. It's like I might be talking about something right now, and like I'm working on this, but then we'll jump to another conversation, and I'll be working on like a portal with a dragon coming out of it, or who knows, you know, like no promises. But just to be jumping around from conversation, like from session to session, talking about about the same content, just sounds like a lot of fun. To be perfectly honest. Like, what is he doing? Where? What? Damn it! I have to go listen to all of them. And like some of them are horrible, just like dead space and the same music, and I don't know the replayability of this stuff, but I enjoy going back to remember what it was I was talking about in the first place. That's fun. Glad to hear it, man. Maybe, hopefully more people will hear them in the future, because rambling and painting is what I love to do. It's what I'm all about, man. Thanks for the compliment. Legit appreciate it. Am I on some sort of opacity? No, I have full opacity. Huh. Just choosing weird colors. Yeah, I know. I told myself I was going to go, and I really do need to go, like, incredibly soon. But I'm hitting the old snooze here, so. I'm on Raw! This song's called I'm on Raw. That's why I do that. All right. I said I wanted to be done with this and start working on cartography on Monday, but honestly, I'm enjoying the process. So we're about here on the picture. And we're just doing blending, so we should be able to cut through and get that taken care of maybe in an hour and a half, and then maybe feather this out. So it looks like this might not be done. Because I ramble a lot and I don't pay attention to what the fuck I'm doing. I suspect it's going to be done Thursday. I'd like to be done sooner than that, but right now the only time I really work on these projects is on Mondays and Thursday nights, because I've got the Spelljammer book as my priority. What'll happen is once the Spelljammer book is published, this rocks forward into the Monday through Friday morning slot, where I'm just doing content production and not as much frivolity as I have here in the evenings, but just getting shit done. And then my Monday Thursday nights will be opened up to, I think one of those nights is going to be a playtest night, and then the other. Geez, yeah, I'm about to fall out of art cycles. We're going to be at a place where the Eberron book is the only thing that I'm doing artwork for, unless it's personal projects or a commission. So I'm going to have to figure that out, because I like not thinking Thursday nights and like development. And maybe we'll do, I don't know. Maybe we'll do campaign development for my home table, or start building out the playtest that we're going to do for the Martial Power System. Maybe that's the best way I can spend my time once this rocks forward, because I like being creative on Mondays and Thursday nights. And the content like mechanic development, like text, that's, I can only do so much of that on stream and be entertaining at all. Like a lot of times that stuff takes like hard thinking that I can't really dick around on stream, and like I need to listen to Sepultura or something, and I can't do that on YouTube. So like my ability to dev on stream is really limited. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. But I don't mind building I don't mind building tools. I like building tools. So I need to build the campaign out, and that might be a fun thing to do, because there'll be a mixture of sketching, maps, building charts, tables, laying plans, making notes, building random tables, like all the tools that you have to build to make a campaign roll. I have to build all that stuff out for the playtest, but I also have to build it out for my home table's at 19th level now. So like we're like maybe 2 months away from the campaign being over at most, which means that we're going to be rocking into Spelljammer, and God's willing, the Spelljammer book's going to be fucking done before that campaign starts, because it's a Spelljammer campaign using my Spelljammer mechanics. So I should really, I mean, obviously I can just grab them a shit copy, but it'd be nice if the thing was done. So, anyway, I've overstayed my own welcome. But if I can get myself to a place where I don't have to stare at the camera a lot on Monday and Thursday while I talk about whatever it is we're going to talk about, then I have a really good chance of having this done on Monday. And if I miss on Monday, Thursday is... I'll have advantage on as a reaction to be able to make that attack roll again. So there's a good chance I'll be able to hit. Oh my God, where's the rave? Whew. Don't worry, I'll always be able to find more things for you to draw for this module. Thanks, Nitro. Man, you guys have been great. I really had a great time tonight. I really appreciate you all being around. I love where this painting is going. We absolutely hit some just natural 20s on some of these skill checks. It was a pretty badass night. So, Muse is willing. I'll have that much of we'll rock out that much more tomorrow as well in the morning. And so I hope you all have a great night. Maybe I'll see some of you guys in the morning. Otherwise, maybe on Monday next week. I'll be here on Saturday as well. Yeah. See you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.
Buttons. Forever pressing buttons.